Right, everybody. Oh, happy day. I hope you're doing insanely well. I've got a very special guest on, Summer here from prospectboss.com. We're going to go into what does a dialer do? So many insurance agents are kind of put off maybe by technology and have never taken a leap into leveraging technology to their advantage. So, Summer, say hey and thank you for joining with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on today.
I appreciate you guys so much. We've used technology for such a long time, and not everybody's a high tech agent. And I want to make sure they understand kind of the basics for an insurance agent that's trying to do some prospecting. Can you help the audience understand what does a dialer first off even do? Maybe they're using their phone. How are they going to powerfully use maybe some of your solutions? What does a dialer do for them?
Yeah, so dollars work differently, just depends on the company, but it's really just to help you be more efficient with your time.
Mhm.
If you're even using a one dialer, like our system has a multi-line, and like I said, every company does something different. We have one, three, and four lines, but ideally, a dialer just helps you maximize your effort. Our solution is web-based. So you would just set your laptop up, put on a headset, and then you'd be ready to rock and roll. You'd have the data in your system, so you'd be making the calls. You'd click the contact and then start a campaign, because at the moment our system is campaign based. So you could start a campaign with them. You can do call recording. You could send messages, emails, video messages through our system. And it's just a better way to organize your data because, in your phone, there's just a lot going on. You have friends, family, coworkers, group chats for Teams meetings, Zoom, all these fun things. So ideally, it just helps you stay more organized doing it on a laptop because you think you're working off of one anyway or a PC. So that's just a better way to stay organized and to stay on task because, like I said, your phone just has a lot of weight. Believe it or not, they are so light, but they hold so much. Everyone's trying to contact you all the time. So this is just a dialer. Its intentions with any company is just to help you stay more focused and on task and a way to organize your data better. Because it's just everything can get easily confused whenever you're just trying to use the number that you already have because other people are trying to reach you from that number. So.
Absolutely. And that's so true. I mean, your phone's so light, but yet it has so much weight. You're so right. It's like everything that we do, we're holding in our hands, this tiny little thing.
hmm
That's a brilliant way to say it, Summer. It's so true. It does
I
have a lot of
actually,
weight.
yeah, I actually saw a post about that the other day. I think it was from Mike Newton. He owns an insurance agency as well, Tidewater Management Group. I did a Boss Banter interview with him. He's a nice guy, but on his Facebook group, he put something about, how your phone weighs so much. And it just really stood out because I was like, yeah. And then sometimes we feel guilty for not answering or like
Hey,
putting it down for a few hours, if we're off on the weekend cleaning our house, doing chores, trying to just get caught up. And sometimes even like stepping away can feel like a lot. So, especially as an agent, whether it's, insurance, real estate, or whatever realm you're in, you're talking to people constantly because you're prospecting and you're hustling. That is the industry. So, I know, like they are even more bombarded than I would be, with a phone. So it just has a lot of weight to it too. And I think he
absolutely.
was meaning that as well as a form of anxiety. Some insurance agents being a little too anxious to pick up the phone and make calls, but he was just trying to do a motivational thing of just keep calling regardless and don't let it hold you back.
Love that. It's so true. I mean, sometimes we call it the 9,000-pound phone, right? And then once you make your first call, it gets lighter. I mean, we
hmm
run a national agency here, just partnering with amazing agents where we sell like a lot of life and Medicare and annuities and then jasonfinalexpense.com if you ever need resources for those of you watching. But the weight of that phone is very real. And to be able to have a dialer like what Summer's talking about, where you can just put your headset on, laser focus on what's going to help you find success, which is talking to people, prospecting, making connections. It's powerful. And to have this single line dialer system where you're not handling your phone, where you get all these beeps and bings and distractions, distractions just debilitate you. And there's a lot of truth
hmm
to that. Agents that are distracted or diluted in their focus and they don't find the same levels of success that someone could if they just put the headset on, focused on their calling campaign, and never call it quits. I mean,
Yeah.
that's power. And you guys are web based. Your dialers are correct,
Hmm.
so they don't have to
Yeah.
have a computer with like a crazy amount of memory or
Hmm.
speed.
Yeah, and that's the idea too, because I know personally, as someone who makes content, the way Adobe works can be a little frustrating whenever your laptop can't update anymore and you can't do the new update. So
Right?
that's just something that we're trying to avoid with this because we're here to make money. We're not here to like make you buy really expensive software and products that are going to take up a lot of storage on your laptop. Because, like, odds are, if you're an agent hustling, you have so many programs already that you're probably using for your marketing purposes. So, no, just the idea is to be web-based. We do have an app as well too for people who are on the go a lot, but I know just as far as like sitting down and making the calls, the web-based solution is going to be the easier one to use.
Love that. But it's nice that you guys have an app so that
Hmm.
agents can take advantage of those resources if they're on the fly or they're at the
Yeah.
beach wanting to get some work in.
Yeah. Yeah, especially to maybe keep up if you're about to, meet a client or talk to someone, you could just look really quick like on your phone, like through the history so that will you have access to that, too,
It's
while
such a
you're on the
help.
go. Hmm.
I mean, because when you're prospecting, if you got dated leads or aged leads, for those of you watching, get a dialer for goodness sakes. It's powerful. You've got this overwhelming volume of leads. Maybe you got a couple thousand, DNC scrubbed aged leads that you want to go call. This is going to help you like a force multiplier find more people to connect with on those calls. Doing it with hand dialing, oh man, I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's frustrating. So
Hmm.
you help them understand this, what a single line dialer does. It's a click to dial interface, correct, for agents, or just
Click to,
automatically? Does a single line dialer just automatically go until a person picks up and then hits on their screen? Just so an agent that
yeah.
doesn't understand how this operates.
Yeah, it just cycles through. So our system in general, we just try to our saying is we filter out the busies and disconnects and no answers, so it'll just keep cycling through. Yeah. So you're not having to type in those numbers to save because the whole idea is to save you time. So yeah, it'll just like keep rotating through.
So many brand new agents, they've never used a dialer. So for them, they're like, so I don't have to listen to ringtones, answering machines, all that kind of stuff. It just does it for me until it picks up
Hmm.
a real voice.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Now, a single line dialer is great, just like using a single phone. Can you help an agent understand what does a triple line dialer do for them?
Yeah. So a triple line dialer is just literally tripling your productivity. How it works is on our system, you have they're just three contact names,
Sure.
and it'll keep dialing through. So we use like a red light system, like a green, yellow system. So like when someone picks up, it'll turn green, and then if they're like going through the calls, it'll be an orangish, yellowish color, and then when someone does pick up, though, it turns green. So that way you know. When I get asked all the time, so I'm going to go ahead and answer. What happens
Right.
whenever two people pick up at the same time? The system just buffers and makes it sound like it's having a little bit of trouble picking up the call and connecting. It doesn't hang up on anyone. However, if that person doesn't have time to wait because the system seems like it's kind of booting down a little bit, then they may go ahead and go depending on like how long your call is. But ideally, it's just going to kind of pause it. The system almost shuts down in a way. And so like you can pick up that next call. So it kind of halts for a moment. It won't like move on to the next person, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And agents are going to want to know this. I mean, it's an important thing for them. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that with them. So it's going to constantly like if somebody can drive and they know red light, green light, orange light,
Hmm.
yellow light, magenta light, whatever some of you drivers out there are doing with the street lights, then they should be able to operate this power dialer pretty seamlessly if that's what they choose. So how many dials can they get through? So a single line dialer, how many calls on average? We won't hold you to this summer, but how many calls on average can a single line dialer perform? And then what is the jump if someone has a triple line dialer and they're potential pickups or productivity? What can be done as far as how many calls can be made?
Like how many calls can be made
Mhm.
in a
On
day?
average, like a single line dialer comparatively to a three line, like how many calls an hour would you say can a single line do compared to a triple line?
A single line, I mean, maybe in an hour, maybe 20 if you're lucky. Ideally, with the three line dialer, we like to say at least 150 calls per hour. If all those people are picking up, then that number may be skewed a little bit. And depending on like how long those phone conversations are, but ideally it's supposed to be like
Of
150
course.
calls can be made per hour with a three line at least. With a single line, I mean, maybe I would say, a quarter of that,
Got it. So
little
like
less
about
than
50
half.
calls on
Yeah.
average. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because if you get someone that picks up, for those of you watching, that's where your time needs to be spent. Is
Hmm.
once you're prospecting, pause everything and be sincerely focused on that call. I mean, that's what it
Yeah.
is when you're prospecting is get those people that pick up, that's where the work is. And that's
Hmm.
where it stinks. Let's face it. Prospecting is painful. And to be able to make it a little bit less painful, it's still going to be a little painful by using technology to your advantage. That's power. It
Yeah.
just is. So love that. Thanks for explaining that to our audience because some people
Yeah.
just don't know what a dialer does. So they can take basically their leads in like a CSV file and then throw them into a dialer and then get a working. Is that right? Kind of how that
Yeah.
works?
Yeah. So you can purchase leads from us, and then some people, have been in the game a while, so they'll have their own leads or they use another lead source, but you can put your own files into the system and then use it that way.
What does support look like? Let's say you got an agent that's like, listen, I'm looking at a single line dialer. I'm new in the insurance industry. How do I get all this stuff set up? What do you have to help that agent that is just raw and new and doesn't know how to use technology to their advantage? How do you support agents, whether they're selling real estate or life insurance or Medicare insurance? How do you support them when they come as a brand new agent utilizing technology? What does that look like for them?
Yeah, so we have an onboarding specialist and he helps people who are new to our system or maybe like have any questions and want to be walked through. So he helps guide you on how to be successful using our system. We also have a really great tech guy, so he can, if you're having any issues, he uses a platform that he can actually guide you through how to use the system. So he can go into the system with you and show you how to do different things, technical speaking, like speaking technically. So that way you can be set up for success. And then we have our onboarding specialist as well. We do a lot of content in general on best practices for different industries, any tips we have, statistics we learned along the way, and then just best practices on how to use our system more efficiently. So we have a couple of different resources people can use.
It is awesome. And then if an agent wants to get additional phone numbers for you guys have local calling presence as well, where they can purchase
Yes.
additional numbers?
Yeah, so our system has a local presence feature, which that has been with Prospect Boss for a while, but we also have a newer option that lets you rotate phone numbers. So they're $3
Hmm.
a piece. We recommend buying at least five, but it just depends on you and how many calls you're making. But this just helps you rotate your numbers to decrease the chance of getting marked as spam likely. And then it's important also to register your number. If you do choose so, that it is $99, but it does help less liken your chances of getting marked as well for spam likely.
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than getting hit and flagged as a spam likely. And then you wonder why, man, I bought all these leads and I'm not breaking through. And
Hmm.
I'm prospecting, I'm putting the time in, but I'm not getting anyone to take the time to pick up my call. That's a spam likely issue. What I've seen, and we do a lot of calls here, obviously. I mean, we do a lot of final expense business, a lot of annuity business, and it's all about prospecting. It's getting the pickups. And, agents that aren't getting the pickups, sometimes they're flagged as spam
Yeah.
likely. So the fact they can purchase numbers inexpensively and utilize this, that's a big deal. I mean, you
Hmm.
guys have been kind of at the tip of the spear in the industry on the spam likely fix for quite some time. I mean, at prospectboss.com, you guys have done some great work. And you created that workaround so they could rotate those numbers. A lot of agents
Yeah.
don't know this, that they're getting flagged.
Yeah, thank you. We kept getting feedback on our lead quality and comments about it, and then we realized that at the end of 2022, the FCC came out with search taken, so that was what was inhibiting people from having their calls go through. Because, I mean, the quality has been consistent. It's just the big guys getting smarter, basically, and
Right?
making it harder for us to make sales and do our jobs, and help other people, buy insurance. So, ideally, it's just to help the agent and help you with a workaround so that way you won't have any issues, so that the leads that you are purchasing, or maybe the leads that you have, you met organically, your calls are still going to go through to them, is the idea. Yeah.
That's a big deal. It is. And so your dialer agents now understand how to use a single line or triple line, what your onboarding process looks like. I know you have some additional force multipliers, which are kind of unique. You've got email marketing campaigns
hmm
as well.
Yeah. So we have email, yeah, like you said.
And one thing I like is you guys have an email marketing where you have video messages, because sometimes getting that face with a name can really kind of get you across the tape, get you to the finish line where it's like, okay, I know what Summer looks like now. I know, what Jason looks like now. Maybe it can build upon the pillars of trust. Can you help agents understand how your video platform works?
Yeah, so we have, or how the video platform works, sorry. It's just like a quick, video you could take with your phone, and you can just send it to a prospect. Like you said, helping getting some FaceTime in, especially when people are oversaturated with just messages in general, and then maybe you don't have time to do an in-person meeting with someone because people don't do that as much as they used to with sales. So this just helps it be a little bit more of a personal experience. But you could take a quick video and then send it to your prospect, and it'll go through as like a text.
That's huge advantage for a lot of agents. I mean, even those of us that have a face made for telesales, all right, myself included. It helps you, trying to get through that wall, right? You're trying to get to the prospects powerfully, and you've got the SMS, you've got the video, email marketing campaigns. You're making it easier for an agent in a business that's not easy, by the way. No matter what you're selling, it's a simple business, but it's not easy to have a powerful tool. And this is one of the great tools out there to be able to resonate with your consumer, punch through, the adversity of dial, 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 and smile. It's a huge thing. So love the fact you guys have gotten around the stir shaken and get the local presence and kind of choose what's best for them and kind of custom plan if they even need a power dialer to operate. But I really appreciate you coming on today and giving them some dialer 101. Now, how should they contact you if they see this video? They're like, okay, I'm kind of thinking about a dialer. What's the best way? I'll put their information, by the way, prospectboss.com. I'll put them in the description of the video. But what's the best way for them to touch base with you to see kind of some of your offerings?
Yeah, so the best way to get in touch with us is our phone number. It's going to be 1-800-662-4009, or you can message us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. We have the sales at prospectboss.com email address as well that we check frequently on any product questions. And yeah, so we have a couple different lines with our phone number. We have sales and tech, and then we have our onboarding specialist. So you can reach us there if you have any questions. We're happy to help.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the channel. I appreciate your wisdom and helping agents, with what is a dialer and how they can use tech to their advantage. I appreciate you so much. Summer, thank you for
Yeah,
joining with us.
yeah. Thank you for having me